Welcome to all Caribbean entrepreneurs. If you've been ready and waiting to take your business digital and get paid online while you sip something strong on the beach, this podcast is for you. We'll hear from the Caribbean's finest entrepreneurs on topics like e-commerce, business development, brand building, social media, their wins and failures. This is the only place in the region helping you navigate the digital age from the Caribbean's perspective. This is Digipreneur FM. And now, let's give it up for the Digiboss himself, Mr. Karan Rose.
Thank you to everybody tuning in to another episode of the Digipreneur FM podcast. And as usual, it is your boy, Mr. Rose. DJ, you know what we got to do. You gotta fade us out because we gotta talk to the people. We gotta talk to the people. Folks, this is episode number 128. 128. It is June 3rd. Look at that. Half the year done already. It is absolutely amazing how the time is just flying when you are having fun. When you are having fun, time flies. And honestly, man, I feel like these days there's just so much to look forward to. I'm seeing, a lot of people really doing their thing. They're elevating. They're living their best life. They're getting to the bag. They're creating opportunities. Listen, when I look around, I really, really see just some amazing people doing some amazing things, Shout out to my guy, Jared Best Mitchell. I'm actually very happy for Homeboy, my guy. Homeboy out here touring the Caribbean, teaching sales. And I bet you if you asked him that, if he's seen this for himself, I think if you asked him that maybe a year ago, I don't even think he could have, dreamt up, what he's been doing. He's hitting like 10 different countries in a month just talking goddamn sales. Listen, that is a vibe. Man, in a couple of weeks, I'll be back on the road again. I'm just waiting for my plane ticket, right? I'm just waiting for my plane ticket. I tell Flo is who I have, a really good relationship with as a brand ambassador for Flo Business. And, we tour the Caribbean doing workshops and teaching Caribbean entrepreneurs, digital strategy, digital marketing, e-commerce, building their brands, you name it, right? I tell Flo every single time. Every time they call me and they're like, "Hey, are you available on this?" I'm like, "Listen, I don't need you guys to ask me nothing. Book my flight. Book my flight. If I was booked before, I am free. Once I see the ticket in my email pop up, whatever I had planned for that day is done. It's done. Whether it's another event locally here in Trinidad, I don't care. Once I see a ticket in my email, I am free. And that journey has been really dope as well. That journey has been exciting. We've hit a few countries this year already, and we're going to be picking back up. We're going to be picking back up this month. And as the time gets closer, I will talk more about that event because I do not think they've released much details. But I will say this. I will say one thing about this upcoming event. I'm just waiting for everything to confirm. It's 99.9% confirmed, but once they put my name on the flyer and they release it, because they only released one flyer so far, and as we get closer to the date, they'll start to release more of the speakers and more info about the event. But what I will say about this event, right, and I'm being a bit tight-lipped about it so far, is this event is going to be an event that I have been looking forward to. Not necessarily the event itself, but because a while ago, maybe like about a year, 2 years, I realized there's one particular host in the Caribbean who gets called for all of the biggest events throughout the Caribbean, for sure. She's probably the number one host in the entire Caribbean region. She gets booked to fly out to go speak at, events that have nothing to do with the Caribbean. Like Homegirl was at the TV Awards. I can't remember the exact name, but it was like the TV Awards out in New York, And she does events all over the world. And I realized, Homegirl is getting called to the biggest event. So if you are at the event speaking and she is hosting, it's probably a really big deal or a really good event to be at. If they have called her, right? And shout outs to Dr. Terry Carell Reed, all right? And I told myself, over the last year, 2 years, I'm like, I gotta get my own brand to a point where I'm at an event where she's calling my name. I need to be at an event where she is calling my name. And I know that I'm at the right, my career is on a good trajectory because, like I said, she only gets called to some of the biggest events, right? And she just does such an amazing job at what she does that you want to be brought on stage. You want her to set the table for you. So when you hit that stage after she brings you out, after she gives you her introduction, you're fired up, right? So over the last year, 2 years, I'm like, man, I got to get myself to a point where I'm at an event where she's calling, where she's hosting, and she's bringing me out. We have luckily, I've already done it, but it's been virtual. I think there's already been 2 events where she hosted and she introduced me, but it was virtual. So in my heart of hearts, I'm like, it don't count. I need the full experience. I need to be brought on stage. I need the full energy and the vibe on a stage with her bringing me on in front of hundreds of people, right? I need that. And we've also actually co-hosted an event together, right? But even in the co-hosting, she was the main host. I was the side host. Like, I was the startup host. Like, I had to get the things running, right? And then she took over. She was main stage, and she blew it out the park, right? But I wanted an event where, we're together. She's on stage. She's in her element. She's bringing me out, and I'm coming there to hammer it home. You know what I mean? So that event is finally happening this month. I don't think she knows it yet because she's too busy. I don't think she knows it yet, but I know it, and I'm excited. And best part is that it's not in Trinidad. They fly me out. So, I'm ultra excited. So not only is the ticket going to get booked and I'm going to be flying out, but the event that we're flying out to is not in Trinidad, and she's going to be the host. So I'm, super excited. This is one of those milestones. I'm like, I got to get brought out by Homegirl. All right? So it's finally going to happen. Anywho, we always stray away in the beginning of the podcast, but we like to bring it, we bring everything on back home, right? So that's what's up with me for now. It's been a beautiful journey. I also want to shout outs to flickin' Nakia. And if you don't know who Nakia Castang is, I am Nakia on TikTok and Instagram, Shout outs to her. She came on the Digital World show yesterday. And I got to sit down and interview her. And it was it's a really, really dope interview. I can't wait for Guardian Media to, their engineers to pull that and do what they got to do and then post it. Because that interview, when I get it, I'm going to grab it and I'll put it on Digipreneur. So you guys can listen to it. I really enjoyed that interview. First things first, what threw me off to start was she was like, when we were talking, I was reading her bio, and I was reading her bio, and I'm like, you're 21. Like I read it and I just looked at her. I'm like, you're 21? I'm like, yo, what? Yo, what the hell was I doing at 21? And she jumped in. Like I'm introducing her, right? So the guest is usually silent when they're being introduced. But anyways, I'm introducing her and I read out she's 21 and she chimes in. She's like, you're probably running down Gail. I'm like, yes, I was. I wasn't on a radio station. I wasn't getting interviewed. I wasn't out here killing it. People didn't know who I was besides the gal them. Man, them was the gal them sugar at 21. What do you mean? But the interview was so dope because what it really made me realize is like I have so much more respect for her after sitting down with her because she started. Now I'm gonna save the good bit of information for when that interview comes out. But like she started content creation at 14 before TikTok when it was Musical.ly. And she, from 14, was just her mindset towards content creation. Always studying, always looking at, what is working, how people are doing things. How could she bring something unique to a situation? And then you're learning the skills to actually go out and piece together your content. Like what people don't realize is like when you... And I told her straight up, I'm like, your content is not necessarily for me, right? However, I can watch your content because there's things to learn. Like, I love how you put together your content. And the fact that, when she was going through the interview and she was talking about, how she's had to learn video editing, she's had to learn what works for her, she's had to learn how all the like, that's a skill in itself. Like, if you can creating content is a skill. Learning how to create content on the various platforms, that is a skill. People are going to pay you for that. All right? So I love how she put together her content and, just listening to her creative process. I'm like, again, just so much respect for her and what she does and how she does it. And just to think that, at 21, I'm like, your head is really in a good place at 21. That I can't even imagine what your life looks like at 26. Give her 5 years. I don't know. Like I'm very intrigued or interested to see what your life looks like at 26. Give you 5 years because at that point you're in the game for 10 plus years. You know what I mean? So it gave me a respect. It gave me a newfound respect for her. And I'm actually excited to there's a lot more people we have in the pipeline coming on through to the Digital World. Digital World is my radio show every single Friday, 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. on Freedom 106.5 FM. I'm really excited for a lot of the guests because, again, everybody just comes with a different background, a different story, a different outlook. And I'm actually excited to step into that role and to be that role of, the facilitator of these conversations. I mean, Digital World actually turned a year last week. We've been on radio for a year as of last week. I really enjoy being the host and the facilitator of these conversations because in media, there's no real place in Trinidad and Tobago. There's no place where you get to sit down for an hour and dive in deep with anybody. When you go on TV, you're lucky to get a 10-minute slot. They gave you the 10-minute slot for really important topics, right? Other than that, it's usually less than that. And if you're in print is only so many pages. There's a word limit, so there's only so much you can do with that. But with what we've been able to create, the space we've been able to create on radio with Digital World Show and being able to sit down with a guest for an hour and really dive in deep into who they are, their story, what they do, and just get gems and stuff like that from the guests. It's really been fun. So I love what I do over at Digital World. So Digipreneur FM, my main role is to teach. Digital World, yes, I teach in snippets, but the best part of Digital World is sitting down with the guests and being the facilitator of, the conversations that we have with those guests. So Shout outs to her. Really love that interview. Can't wait for it to come out. So then we'll bring it over here so you guys can tune in as well, right? Anyways, let's get to the meat of the matter. Today's episode, right? Today I wanted to talk to you guys about the role of the social media specialist. So we have done quite a few job roles within the digital space, right? We did an episode on the digital strategist a couple of episodes ago. Can't remember what number that was. If I find it real quick, digital strategist episode was episode number 121. Episode number 121 was the role and function of the digital strategist. All right. So what I want to do today is talk about the role and function of the social media strategist. That way, if you run a business, right, or you're in an organization and you're looking to bring in a social media specialist, you know, you have an understanding as to, you know, what they're supposed to do for your company. And then also, if you are somebody who is looking to become a social media specialist, you know, this is what you should be looking forward to in the role. And I'm also going to include, you know, things like what certifications to go out and get, and then also salaries, and then some resources, right? Some certifications you should do. I will have links. What I will do is I will link, because I have this in a written format, with links to courses you should do, both free and paid courses, and then also resources, what types of books you should be reading and consuming, specific books, to build you up as a social media specialist. All right. So let's get to it. The role and function, the role of a social media specialist in the Caribbean is often one of the most misunderstood roles in the Caribbean. As businesses are getting accustomed to new roles in the digital space, they have not fully accepted the role of a social media specialist 100% as yet. And social media guys and gals, you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. Most companies believe that because they see their kids and teens using social media, you cannot truly be expected to properly compensate someone who has to use these social media platforms on their behalf. Like, listen, you really have people in business who are like, hey, we need to do social media. Let me just get Annette. What is her niece name? Yeah, the young one. Where is she, like 15? Let me just bring her in to do social media for us now. And it's like, no, not at all. But the reason I'm saying that is, like, that's where their mindset goes when it comes to social media. Let's just find someone young. All right. They know them thing. They know them thing. They on social media right through. Let me get someone young and let them handle our social media. And creating content and using social media for play is very, very different than using social media for business. All right. Why would you want to entrust your customers, your clients? People are discovering you. All right. Other business people who want to form business relationships with you. Everybody's discovering you via some digital platform, not just social media, but other platforms as well. But they could very well discover you from social media. Why are you entrusting this to a teen? It don't make no goddamn sense. Anyways, I digress. This is why when social media specialist roles are being advertised, they usually have combined with a bunch of other duties or specializations in an attempt to get as much out of the person as humanly possible. I have seen some of these job postings with duties like helping the waiters and waiting tables in restaurants stick a pin. That exact job that I was referring to, I now see them posting back up the social media role again. It's like this has been, I think, the 5th time in 6 months. 6 to 8 months. I'd have to look back at when I did my video on them. I did a video on them. Companies are wilding. Shout out to whoever the guy is that does Companies Are Wilding. Spoiler alert, it's me. Anyways, I seen them post up the role yesterday. And someone sent it to me and they're like, they thought they were slick. They try to hide this from you. But little do they know, we send these things to you. So I seen them post it back up. I just laughed. I might do a video on it again. Let's see. Anyways, I've seen jobs where, again, they want you to help the waiters, waiting tables. They even say you got to lift up to 16 kilograms of weight. Yeah, people want you to fix computers. How are you a social media specialist and people want you to fix computers? They want you to handle accounting because you name accountant now. And so many more unrelated tasks or specializations to the role of a social media specialist. All this to try to justify your role, right? So let's take a look at some of the duties and education and experience that the role should have. And I'll also throw in the salary ranges for the role from around the world that I've been able to gather. The social media specialist job description. A social media specialist is responsible for planning, implementing, managing, and monitoring the company's social media strategy in order to increase brand awareness, improve marketing efforts, and increase sales. This includes creating and publishing content, analyzing and reporting on social media metrics, and engaging with users on social media platforms. The social media specialist should have a strong understanding of the target audience and be able to use that knowledge to effectively create and distribute content. They should also be able to work collaboratively with other members of the marketing team and be able to adapt to new social media platforms and trends as they emerge. Other responsibilities may include conducting market research, collaborating with external influencers, and creating and analyzing paid social media campaigns. So that's the gist of what the role is. Now let's talk about the actual duties of a social media specialist. The duties of a social media specialist are they got to develop and implement the company's social media strategy. They got to create and publish engaging and relevant social media content, including text, images, and video. They got to monitor and respond to user comments and messages on social media platforms. They need to analyze and report on social media metrics, all right? And you know what? It's also good for a social media specialist to learn a bit about web analytics because ideally, you want your social media strategy to drive traffic back to your platform. So it's a good idea for a social media specialist to start learning things like Google Analytics, Google Search Console, Bing Webmaster, a bit of CRM. That way you can actually see how the content you are creating is driving back traffic to the platforms that you own, all right? So it is a good idea for social media specialists to start learning a bit of website analytics. They should be conducting market research to stay up to date on industry trends and developments. Again, collaborate with external influencers to expand the company's reach and social media presence. Create and analyze paid social media campaigns to increase brand visibility and drive sales. Now, technically with that, a paid media specialist should be the one kind of doing that. However, it's not uncommon for a social media specialist to run paid media ads as well. Those are like two skill sets that kind of do work hand in hand, right? Then we got identify and troubleshoot any issues that arise on the social media platforms. Stay up to date on new social media platforms and features and adapt the company's strategy as needed. You want to be able to moderate all user-generated content in line with the moderation policy for each community. You want to capture and analyze the appropriate social data, metrics, insights, and best practices. You're going to have to collaborate with other departments, customer relations, sales, etc., to manage reputation and coordinate actions. Use data to analyze what's working, what's not, and reinforce or refocus key messages accordingly. Help convert brand fans into loyal customers with engaging, responsive, responsible, surprising, and captivating social media interaction. So that's the typical duties of a social media specialist. Let's look at some of the soft skills that a social media specialist should have. So for one, you got to have excellent communication skills. A social media specialist should be able to clearly and effectively communicate with a wide variety of people, both online and in person. This includes the ability to write engaging and compelling social media content, as well as the ability to communicate with customers and followers in a friendly and professional manner. Creativity. A social media specialist should be able to come up with fresh and original ideas for content and campaigns that will help to engage a target audience and promote the brand. Adaptability. Woo, this is a big one. The world of social media is constantly evolving, and a social media specialist should be able to adapt to new platforms, features, and trends as they emerge. Folks, you just got to embrace change. And social media platforms are changing all the time, so you need to be adaptable. Time management. A social media specialist may be responsible for managing multiple social media accounts and campaigns, and they should be able to effectively prioritize their tasks and manage their time in order to meet deadlines and achieve their goals. Interpersonal skills. A social media specialist should be able to work well with others, including members of the marketing team, external influencers, and customers. This includes the ability to collaborate effectively, listen to others' ideas, and communicate clearly. And last but not least, customer service skills. A social media specialist may be responsible for responding to customer inquiries and complaints on social media, and they should be able to handle these interactions in a professional and helpful manner. Let's talk about the qualifications of a social media specialist. This is a big one. So, as a social media specialist, you want to have a proven portfolio of work in social media marketing or as a digital media specialist. So start to build that portfolio. You don't always need the qualifications, but what you should do is you should be reaching out to businesses, people that you know, businesses that you see online, and see how you could work with them for free for a couple of months just to build that portfolio. That way, when you're going into interviews or you're trying to get clients, you have a portfolio of work to show for it, right? That's the most important thing to me with respects to qualifications. You can get social media jobs without getting any certifications if you have a proven body of work, all right? So other qualifications you're going to be looking for: 2 to 3 years of experience in social media management, marketing, or related field. You want to see if the person has strong writing and communication skills, proficiency with social media platforms and analytics tools, and some certifications in those spaces as well. Creativity and ability to come up with engaging content ideas. Knowledge of graphic design and photo editing software or software applications is definitely a bonus because, again, you're going to be creating a lot of the content as well. So, what are you using? Are you using Canva? Are you using Illustrator? Using Adobe? Again, knowing those things are going to be very good. Do you have experience with paid media advertising? Can you run ads on social media? Do you have a familiarity with SEO, search engine optimization, and web analytics? Learning those skills, even though it's not a requirement for you to do them, if you are a social media specialist who understands SEO and web analytics, it's only going to make you a better content or a better social media specialist for a business owner because you're seeing how the content is driving conversion. All right. Does the person have strong organizational and project management skills? Do they have the ability to work under pressure and tight deadlines? So those are the qualifications, for a social media specialist. Not so much, there's not so many qualifications, but there are certifications that you can do, and we'll get into that. But the main thing I think most importantly is what qualifies somebody as a social media specialist is your body of work. Let's see your body of work, and do you understand how social media impacts a business? Do you understand, the flow of traffic? What is conversion? Can you show a measure of success with your content, right? And not what is successful on social media. Don't go into an interview talking about, we found success because, this post got X amount of likes, X amount of follows, X amount of shares, X amount of saves. That's not success for a business owner. That's success for a content creator. But for a business owner, you need to be able to show how your content is driving conversion. That conversion could be leads, right? That conversion could be signups for an email list. That conversion can be sales. You need to show how your content on social media is driving conversion. You do that inside of your portfolio, and you really have a winning profile for people to want to hire you or work with you. All right. Let's talk salary ranges. So we don't have salary ranges for the Caribbean, right? And we don't have anybody collecting this information and putting it out publicly for social media specialists. So I was able to gather what the ranges were from a couple of key countries, just so you have an idea as to what people are getting paid around the world, right? So in the United States, The average salary range for a social media specialist is between 49,000 US dollars to 62,000 US per year. All right. In the United Kingdom, it starts at 26,000 US dollars. And I put all the ranges in US dollars. I did the conversion. In the United Kingdom, it's 26,000 US dollars, 26,000 US dollars to start. Gets up to about 56,000 per year. Now, remember, these ranges are going to vary a bit because everybody's economy is different. Cost of living is a bit different, right? So, some people are going to get paid more in some countries because they have higher expenses or higher cost of living in their country than others. China is between 24,000 US dollars to 43,000 US dollars per year. And Australia is 51,500 US, going up to 72,000 US dollars per year. So that's salary ranges. So depending on what country, now, Trini folks that listen to this podcast, please just do the conversion because we literally have over 60 countries that listen to the podcast over the last couple of weeks. Everybody is going to be doing a conversion for their own country. All right? Training people always message me, hey, what is that in TT? Just do the math. Type it into Google. Google does the conversion for you. Don't message me asking me about the conversion. Everybody else does the conversion on their own. Trini folks, I need y'all to do the conversions for yourself, all right? Anyways, let's move on. Industry certifications. So there's a wide assortment of industry certifications that a social media specialist can get to become certified. Here are a few to get you started. All right, so there is a social media marketing certification from HubSpot Academy that is free. There is the fundamentals of digital marketing from Google Digital Garage. That is free as well. There is the social media mastery certification from Digital Marketer. That one's a paid course. There is PPC, Pay-Per-Click University from WordStream. There is the social media marketing specialization from Northwestern University. Online advertising and social media from the University of Maryland. Content marketing and SEO fundamentals from SEMrush Academy. That's a free one as well. Fundamentals of digital marketing, social media, and e-commerce from the Wharton School. Now, I'm going to be linking in the show notes to my written article about the social media job description guide. And when you are going through that article, there's links to all the industry certifications that you can go and check out, right? So you're going to be able to read to the article. You can go down to the industry certification section, click on the link for the course, and, go get yourself certified, all right? And listen, don't do it for the certifications. Do it to learn, all right? Learn everything that you can and then go and apply it. Go, find a business to do some free work for to build your portfolio. Because I'm telling you from now, your certifications in this space mean nothing if you do not have a portfolio and can show that you do the work. Because this is a very tangible skill set. And people want to see that you're going to be able to do it, right? Certifications show that you passed the course, but can you actually do it? All right. Next, we got the top books for social media specialists to go and read. And number one is, and this is in no particular order, right? But again, these are some of the top books I think social media specialists should read to up their knowledge in the space. The Art of Social Media, Power Tips for Power Users by Guy Kawasaki. You got Content Inc. by Joe Pulizzi, Building a Story Brand by Donald Miller, Crushing It by Gary Vaynerchuk. That's one of my favorites. The New Rules of Marketing and PR by David Meerman Scott. That's one of the best books I've read. Social Media Marketing for Dummies by Michelle Krasniak. You got Influencer, Building Your Brand in the Age of Social Media by Brittany Hennessy. All Marketers Are Liars by Seth Godin. And Everybody Writes by Ann Handley, all right? Go check those books out. Those are some amazing books to really up your knowledge in the social media industry, all right? Folks, social media is a powerful tool that can help exponentially scale a business and build a community. Your clients are on a number of social media platforms, and your company has unlimited access to a pool of clients. Your social media specialist can help build awareness for your brand, increase the visibility of its products and services, which can increase the traffic back to your company's website and improve company sales. By leveraging the data that can be gathered from the various social media platforms, your specialist can also help improve marketing and business development strategies. By responding to comments and messages on social media, a social media specialist can help to build relationships with customers and create a sense of community around the brand. This can lead to increased customer loyalty and advocacy. By developing and managing paid social media campaigns, a social media specialist can help to increase the reach of the company's content and drive sales. If you are someone who is looking to become a social media strategist, then you can look at some of the courses I've laid out in this podcast. And again, I'm linking to the written article in the show notes. Go get yourself certified. And all the certifications are good internationally. All right. So you're going to be able to apply for jobs around the world and get clientele around the world. But remember, your certifications mean nothing without the proven body of work. And it's easy to go get a proven body of work. Go out, find somebody you can do work for free, build your portfolio, have your certifications and have your portfolio. All right. I can't stress on that enough. Anybody can pass the tests, get degrees and the certifications, but with digital marketing, you should be able to look and see the work that they have done online. And you can use that to determine, this is mainly for the companies, use that to determine if this person is the right fit for your organization or if this is the right freelancer that you can work with to get your business off the ground. Okay? Folks, that is the role and function of the social media specialist. I've given you guys articles to look at, I've given you courses, books, salary ranges, all right? Go check all of these things out and really step your game up as a social media specialist. Folks want to know why people don't want to pay for social media. And it's because the majority of the people they come across, they don't have the certifications to show that, hey, they're really taking this seriously. And then when they do have it, they might not have a body of work. And again, don't give me this is one of those things, where they're like, I can't get a job because I don't have the experience. You can get the experience. It's easy to get the experience. Go and find a business to work with. Do it for a couple of months. That is how you get experience. I got experience because I learned it for myself for my own business. So I was able to get all of my experience and apply it immediately to my business, to my phone business. And I get more clients because people saw all the work I was doing for my own business. People were asking me about, who did I hire to do my marketing for my business or build my website or do this? And I was like, I'm doing all that. And then it just came so natural that people started to ask me, can you build my website? Can you work with me to help build my business? And I'm like, in the beginning, I was like, no, because I'm not doing this to teach or doing it or learning everything to go do this as a business. I'm learning and doing all this for my own business. So I can, we can talk, we can have conversations about it, business owner to business owner, but I'm not about to go and build your website or do anything for you. I'm doing this for my business. I'm doing this for my baby, right? But I'll tell you, what you should be looking at. I'll tell you what you guys can go and learn or, the type of people you need to go and find to do your own thing, right? So go and get your body of work. Either apply it to yourself. That way you are your own case study, or go work with other business owners that need the services to build your portfolio. You can go and get that portfolio without ever doing the certifications. But the certifications, along with a strong body of work, is how you get paid. That is how you're ultimately going to make the kind of money you want and have people take you seriously. That is why I strongly, strongly recommend that if you want to get into social media marketing for business owners, have the certifications, learn how to build a portfolio. Learn how to show. Most importantly, learn how to show your social media content can drive sales. Learn how to show how you managing and building that community can help with brand reputation. If you can show those things, and if you can show some form of dollar figure, some form of conversion, that is how you're going to get the business owners to pay you the money that you want. Other than that, if you're only coming to the table with, hey, we were responsible for these campaigns, look how many likes we got, you're never going to make money. You're never going to make the money that you want. You're never going to get people to pay you the way that you want to get paid. And that's how you struggle to get clients. I laugh when I'm in meetings and boardrooms and the people in charge of social media are like, yes, we worked with these influencers, we were able to get these results, and your results are likes, engagement via comments or saves. Bro, that doesn't mean nothing to a business. That is good metrics for somebody who is creating content or using social media for fun or just building their brand on social media. But when you are working with a business, doing social media for a business, it's a different thing. And you got to learn the business of social media. A lot of you know how social media works, but what you don't know is the business of social media. How can social media be used to grow and aid business? And you can't come to the table with, we're getting likes. I'm in conversations where people are like, yo, we post content and we know we're getting sales. You got to be able to show how your social media content is driving sales. And if you can't show that, then at this point, you're just guessing, because it could have been anything, right? It could have been anything. And then if you're not measuring and can't show, then how do you recreate? How do you define success for your organization? If you can't measure, can't show what you do is the cause for your growth. All right? So that is today's episode, number 127. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you enjoyed today's episode, please rate the podcast. For using platforms like Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, there's a rating system, a star rating system. Please give a rating for the podcast. I watch the ratings. The ratings help to continue to grow the podcast. I don't ask for much, but oh God, give me a little blind. Rate the podcast. Take 2 seconds, rate the podcast. Also, if you really enjoyed the podcast, drop a review. People read the reviews when they are deciding whether or not to listen to the podcast. So if you really enjoyed the podcast, please take a few minutes, drop a review. The reviews continue to help me grow the podcast. And I also get to see what you guys like, what you guys don't like. All right. The feedback is always great. So I'd really appreciate if you drop a review and leave a rating for the podcast. Don't forget, you can learn more about building your digital presence and monetizing your platforms on KaronRose.com. Link to my website in the show notes. Also, to stay up to date on all things related to the podcast, visit the link in the show notes, digipreneur.fm. Go subscribe to the podcast website or the podcast push notification list to keep up with all the things that we are involved in. And you guys can also follow me over on social media platforms at Karon Rose, KeronRose. I am on all social media platforms, Facebook, LinkedIn, TikTok, Instagram. I'm on Twitter, not really too active, but everything else I'm pretty active over on those social media platforms, all right? I hope you enjoyed another episode of the Digipreneur FM podcast. It is a Saturday, and I hope you enjoy your weekend, everybody. All right. See you guys in the next episode, and take care.
You've been listening to the Digiboss, Karon Rose. We hope your notepad was filled after this episode. Make sure to like, rate, and review the show. The learning doesn't stop, folks. And to make sure you don't miss any gems from the Digiboss, go over and follow him on all social media platforms at Karan Rose. Folks, don't just sit there with a notepad. We need you to implement at least one thing into your business before the next episode. That's the only way your business levels up. Thanks for listening to Digipreneur FM. Now go be great.